Welcome back to Mid Morning. And yes, the segment I've been looking so forward to because I always speak about life experience and how the Almighty connects us with people you need most. And that's exactly what happened to me last week. So for a while now, I don't know. Well, then my next guest has confirmed that sometimes post COVID can leave your hair having a negative effect on your hair, leaving it dry and dehydrated. So for a while now, maybe about a couple of months now, my hair was literally feeling like steel wool. I I spent quite a bit of money on various masks and treatments and hair oils and following other regimens in an effort to get it smooth and shiny, like the commercials when those things you just stepped out of the salon look, and I was aiming it, but to no avail. And then, as I said, the Almighty connected Zahira and I, and I on Thursday I went for a head and scalp analysis, and yes, I think with our hair we always are treating the symptom and not the cause of it. And yes, it was a very fascinating, interesting, and informative consultation. I learned a lot, and yes, my hair is a byproduct of a healthy scalp and follicle. And in our various conversations, that's why I mean, she's known as many things, and people understand, know Zahira through her various different hats that she wears. But for me, I'd like to introduce Sister Zahira as the follicle whisperer. Yes, she whispers to your follicles. She awakens them. Then she ensures that you you make sure that they remain awake and alive. Because if you want a healthy hair and you want that stepped out of the salon look, and also for those of you that are balding, it's not, I learned, genetic, but it's because your follicles have went to sleep. So let me welcome serial entrepreneur, wife, mother, grandmother, philanthropist, community activist, humanitarian with an extensive knowledge in the fashion and beauty industry. Somebody who's not a stranger to the media as well, because she's an internationally acclaimed media personality, as well as she's known by her other name as Gauteng's Pixie Queen, spreading her pixie dust for her uncanny ability to leave everything and everyone more beautiful when she finds them. I can testify I feel more beautiful, not just outside, but internally. Uh, yes, so my follicle whisperer, Sister Zaheera Bhayat. Assalamu alaikum and welcome to Salam Media.
Walaikum salam. Jazakallah so much for having me.
So, Sister Zahira, I was quite intrigued, fascinated, empowered uh, regarding hair care, because I always thought, you know what, it's your actual hair strands that you need to moisturize, nurture, look after. But you told me something else. It's actually your hair follicles. Everything is uh, for good hair care. The symptom will show if you have good hair, it's a symptom of a healthy scalp, and your follicles optimized follicle functioning, so to speak. And your hair is just a byproduct of that.
100%, yes.
So tell us a little bit more about our scalp and our follicles.
Oh, it's such a magical world that we have entered into. I think what we forget is, like you mentioned earlier, if we have a hair challenge or if there is something wrong with our hair, falling hair, dry hair, whatever it may be, the first thing we do is we would run around like headless chickens out of desperation trying to find a product that would work for us. And I think that's the biggest mistake we can make. We must understand what the hair is, what the follicle is, how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. It's as simple as that. If we understand that, the metaphysical aspect of hair, then it's so easy to have magnificent hair. So firstly, we must understand that hair is a natural extension of our nervous system, and it actually balances the electromagnetic field in our body. And it's one of the strongest biological substances in nature. I bet you didn't know that. So, contrary to what some of you believe, no, I'm not a gypsy with a crystal ball, unfortunately, but we can read follicles. So, follicles reflect our innermost emotions and traits. So, by me doing an analysis on you, the first thing I would look at is the state of your follicles. Your follicles literally will talk to me and tell me if there is any emotional aspect or any trigger that has created or caused your bad hair. It's as simple as that, really.
And always you told me your follicles remember. They have memory,
Yes.
they don't forget. So can you just
Yes.
expand about that to all our listeners? Because I was most intrigued by what you said.
So there's this one hadith I could see that always comes to mind when I talk about the greatness of how Allah subhanahu wa ta'ala has created us. Allah says in the Quran, we are ashraful makhluqat, the paragon of His creation. And I always gain so much of inspiration from that because He says He's created us in the best of forms. And if we just take one tiny hair follicle, in that tiny hair follicle, Allah has created it with so much of intelligence and the ability to retain memory. So anything that you feel on an emotional aspect, it's going to manifest on a physical part of your follicle. So if you're feeling distressed, if you're feeling sad, if you're feeling happy, either way, it's going to show on my screen. 15 different cells interact to create a hair follicle. And the idea is to simply brainwash your follicles from a dormant state into an active state, because your follicles have two states. It is essentially in a comatose state or it is in an active state. And most of the time when patients come to me, their follicles are in a dormant state, obviously with whatever it is that has caused that to be in that dormant state or in a comatose state. So my job essentially is to brainwash your follicles into thinking a new thought. And that's why it's so wonderful to be working with a follicle that has intelligence, because they can move from state to state. And it takes about 90 days maximum for it to understand and absorb whatever it is that we say to them in terms of treatment.
Okay, and now just tell me a little bit. So let's go into this, the metaphysical science and the emotion behind hair, and like you say, the magic of hair follicles. Uh, up until I met Zaheera Bhayat, I mean, follicles were just a terminology that I understood, a very biological name for the place where your hair comes out from. So basically, I didn't pay much attention or give any respect. I apologize, Miss Follicle Whisperer, to follicles.
Thank
It was
you.
just a term that I knew. Oh, okay, this thing where my hair protrudes from is called a hair follicle. But your hair follicle is so much more than the place where your hair shaft protrudes from.
So there is a direct correlation, and this is widely accepted in the medical field, in the holistic field of hair reconstruction and restoration, that there is a direct correlation between the emotional aspect of yourself inside here, and or in your mind rather, that manifests or shows us. Or has the end result of what your follicles are going to be like on the outside. So whatever we feel on the inside directly impacts the outside. So it makes sense, because if you think about it, when Allah created us, He didn't just create us as a conduit, as a vessel, an empty vessel. We are created from energy. We created from vibration. We have to accept that. So when we treat, we simply treat the outer with the inner, intrinsically woven, and that's why we end up with a 98% success rate. Because anytime a patient walks in with bad hair or any hair triggers, there has to be an emotional trigger, whether it's conscious or subconscious. So it means whether you know about it or you don't know about it, but there is an emotional trigger that has created less than magnificent hair. If we can simply find that emotional trigger and work with that to eliminate that or ease that, then alhamdulillah, within a very short space of time, obviously using the right products, doing what you need to do in terms of your physical treatments, again, works together, we have magnificent hair.
Okay, you also made me aware that part of the reason why my hair could have been feeling like, well, it was like steel wool. I said steel wool, you were kind and said very dehydrated or extremely dehydrated. I just told you it feels like steel wool. Was because you said a post COVID hair loss and dehydration of the hair is very real. Can you expand a bit more on that?
Yes, most definitely. The post-COVID, the virus itself, we must be very clear. the COVID virus itself does not cause hair loss. The result of COVID-19 is definitely negatively impacting hair follicles. The first strain of COVID, we saw patients come to us at least 4 to 5 months post-COVID with hair loss. With the other strains or variants, we find that hair loss is occurring much more frequently within 3 to 4 weeks of the triggering event. So what happens with the virus? Obviously, there is an emotion attached to that. So you are feeling afraid. Your body is under emotional stress, physical trauma. All of this again plays an integral role on your follicles and how traumatized they are. So telogen effluvium, or as we say TE, is triggered by acute illness or fever or emotional distress, and all of this is caused by COVID, right? Or the whole COVID experience. So most patients, if you've had COVID over the past year or two or past few weeks, you would notice that you have a sudden hair loss or hair that is typically falling out in clumps while you're showering, while you're brushing. All of this is perfectly normal. Also, if you take into consideration the fact that we are living in a pandemic, so job losses, family stress, fear of contracting the virus also, more people are experiencing this telogen effluvium, where your hair, your follicles, because they network, they speak to each other, and because of the emotional distress paired up with the physical distress, we find that hair loss is caused by this, or post-COVID hair loss, we would say, where it falls out in clumps or it's falling out over the days, like if you're brushing it or if you're washing it. So that's what basically is going to happen to you.
Okay. And then, Zahira, I learned quite a few things that even before people can contact you or get to you or something, that to prevent aggravation of our hair, there were certain things I was doing, and I think you were cringing while I was saying that, but you were too kind to actually say, so you listened to me, and I told you my hair care regimen. And while I was telling you my hair care regimen, I was waiting for you after to say, oh, you such a good person when it comes to hair care, and you like spot on, and you were so kind not to show that persona that you were cringing internally, because whatever, I mean, there were lots of things I was doing that was a no-no, and that could have been contributing to the dehydration in my hair and the hair loss. So can you just share with all the listeners, in terms of our healthy scalp, follicles and hair, what should we not be doing and what we should be doing? And also, you gave me some exercises I need to do to awaken those follicles that everybody can do at home. So, can you please share this with us?
So I think this is the best part right now, where I get to dispel the hair myths that we live with. So first one is washing your hair frequently is bad for you. There is no rationale for this, not at all. Again, if we understand the body and how Allah created us, the pH balance of the skin, the body, and the scalp is exactly the same. The makeup is the same. The DNA is the same. So for those of you who are not washing your hair every day, or washing it once a week or twice a week, imagine if you had washed your face once a week or twice a week, or you showered once a week or twice a week. Not ideal, right? So exactly the same goes for your scalp. We have to give our scalp the same respect as we give the rest of our body. Remember, your hair goes everywhere with you, right? Can we agree on that? So it picks up dirt, it picks up pollution, sweat, oil, dead skin cells. So you have to wash it regularly. A clean scalp is a healthy scalp. You are not stripping your hair of its natural oils. No, for everyone that thinks you're not supposed to wash your hair simply for this reason, there is no rationale to this, because your oil does not travel from your scalp down to the hair shaft. So your oil will be in your scalp. A clean scalp is a healthy scalp. That's it. It's as simple as that. Another one, very important, is I think Miriam had mentioned so happily and so excitedly to me that I oil my hair once a week, or however often she oils it, and she was so excited, like, I'm doing it. Yes, I'm taking good care of my hair. Oil is a no, 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 no. Remember that. oil simply, if your follicles are already traumatized, the first thing you have to understand if you have less than magnificent hair, in all probability, there is a 99.9% chance that you have a traumatized follicle or an upset scalp. So if you're going to be putting oil into that upset scalp or a traumatized follicle, you're simply creating oil pockets that go in and get lodged at the base of your follicle. So in essence, you are making it worse. How many of you have used oils or 7 oils or amla oils or whatever oils it is that you all use so happily, thinking that you all are doing something really good for your hair, but in essence it's going to cause severe dehydration. So if you're putting in oil, you should, if your oil was working, logic will tell you that you would have magnificent hair. Am I right? So if you don't have magnificent hair, something is wrong with what you're doing. You need to change your hair routine. So stop putting oil. Oil is essentially clogging your follicle and dehydrating the hair. So it's something very
Zaira,
simple.
Zaira, we're going to go for a short break and
Okay.
then we can continue about, I love this hair myths and correcting them and yes, giving us factual information there. And yes, it was a difficult journey, but after the break, we're going to continue. I'm enjoying this hair myth segment. So all this after the break from our follicle whisperers, Sister Zaheera Bhayat. Huh? Why is this thing going remove ya? Just pick, oh no, no, no. Just pick up my notes here. Yeah, yeah. Uh,
The pictures was uploading again.
Maybe what we can do
Because
is,
what I was feeling was, no, you know the one like again type.
yeah, yeah,
I want to leave that for a bit.
yeah. Again, because she's gonna offer a free consult for 5 people,
I'm
so
gonna
you're gonna
put
do that.
that.
Yeah.
So then just
So,
give me
so
like
when
a
I'm
time.
doing, I'll do that last one you played.
Yeah.
That is the one. Right.
Meaning the one with it that
So,
is Zaheera Bhayat. This one, yeah.
welcome back. You tuned into Mid Morning Talk, and yes, I feel rejuvenated after my positive, informative experience last week regarding how to take care of my not just my hair but my scalp and hair follicles as well. And before the break, we were speaking to the her hair and scalp aesthetic expert, Zaheera Bhayat, and she was telling us about the myths. So, two she said was about it is a myth that we shouldn't frequently wash our hair. In fact, she said at least 5 times a week you should be washing your hair, your scalp, and your hair needs to be cleansed at least 5 times a week. And hair oil is a no-no, especially if your hair follicles and your scalp has already been negatively impacted. You are worsening the condition by oiling your hair. Zahira, you can now continue with our hair myths.
Okay, so another hair myth is heat is bad for your hair. Okay, so I think that was the two most important ones is don't wash your hair and don't use the hair dryer because you're going to be damaging your hair. My life's work, my product range, essentially everything that I have researched and everything I have created is based on heat activation. Heat is good for your hair. Heat heals, provided you're using heat activated products. Okay, that is something very important. So if you find that you have a lackluster hair, your hair is dull, there's no shine to it, simply, if you're using the products, the Hydro Boost range, any heat activated product that's going to feed the follicle, it's going to lock in shine, and literally in front of your eyes, you're going to see your hair go from lackluster to a high gloss shine. It's as simple as that. So if you're using, and remember, another thing is stop WhatsApp buying or stop buying off the counter. So anyone that tells you something out of desperation, yes, I'm going to do it. Did you do a scalp analysis? Did you understand? Do you know what your scalp needs or what your follicles need? So by simply just buying blind the new thing on the market, or it's because everyone else is using it, you are simply exacerbating your problem than helping yourself. Okay. So now
Before you go on, Sister Zaheera, let's as you, because that came to mind now, the WhatsApp buying. Now and then, every so often, there's an advert for somebody's got the latest horse shampoo to make your hair long and shiny. And I know lots of people who want beautiful step out of the salon look here are purchasing horse shampoo. Can we have your thoughts on horse shampoo, please?
okay, for me personally, in my studios, I do not endorse horse shampoos of any kind. When you did ask me about it in studio, the first question I asked you, Miriam, do you remember? What did I
Yes.
ask you?
Are you a horse?
There you go. So if you are a horse, by all means, alhamdulillah, use the shampoo. If you are not, stay away from it. It's too full of chemicals, too much steroids, too much of everything. So it's going to give you a burst of hair growth, but because you're not an animal, you're not a horse, your follicles cannot contain so much of that, and eventually over time what's going to happen is the minute you stop using these products, it's going to start creating hair loss and trauma to the follicle, which we would just have
Sister
to fix.
Zaira, there was a question now from Facebook. Uh, there's it, Binti Bibi says, Salam, so what's the reason for getting pimples in the scalp?
There's a host of reasons why we would get pimples in the scalp. Perhaps your scalp is not getting enough air. You are over sweating, so the sebaceous glands are overworking. It could be the microbial system in your scalp is upset. So like in our home, in a household, you would do what you need to do. Your husband would do what he needs to do. Whoever else is there would do what they need to do to ensure a proper running of that unit of your family. So your scalp is exactly the same. Your follicles do what they need to do. Your blood flow, your oxygen, all of these things come together to do what they need to do to ensure a healthy microbial system. Once one of these things are upset, it upsets our whole unit. And as such, we have a host of different challenges that come. And your pimples could have been one of these challenges. It all depends. It's very difficult to outright just give advice on that without having seen or done a 5-year hair history with you. But
Okay.
feel free to message me and we can take it up from there.
So we will put up all your contact details during the course of the conversation. Sister Zaira, any other hair myths? I mean, so let's just recap. It's the washing of the hair. Your hair needs to be washed at least 5 times a week. You said oil is a no-no, especially if you're having issues with scalp and follicles. You said, despite what we know, heat activation is actually good for hydration. Is there any other hair myths that we should be aware of?
So not exactly myths, just some information that I would like to give you. Your hairbrush. Your hairbrush is not just a hairbrush. Again, we never ever think of our brush. Most of us use the same brush for years and years and years without ever thinking about our hairbrush. So your hairbrush is amazing for what it can do for you, provided you're using the right hairbrush. We essentially focus on the nanotechnology range. So it has a ceramic plating where it has a negative ion. Your hairdryer has a positive ion. When the two meet together, we create small electric sparks that you don't see, but your follicles feel. So everything you're doing thus far is to stimulate follicles. As you are brushing, you're going to be scraping your brush, even with your normal brushes. When you're combing your hair, try and scrape the brush against the scalp. without hurting yourself, but enough for you to feel you are stimulating the follicle. Your nanotechnology brush would automatically pull on the hair enough to give you pull therapy, massage therapy that I'm going to be explaining a little bit further into this. So your brush is not just a brush. It is meant to stimulate follicles. If you stimulate follicles, stimulating blood flow and oxygen levels, automatically your follicles are happy because they are a living, breathing entity. Everything that's a living, breathing entity needs blood flow and oxygen to function optimally. It's so simple. Having magnificent hair is not rocket science. It's not really. Another thing I would like to talk about is how to help your hair. So you're sitting there and you're saying, yes, but I don't have access to your studios. I can't do this and I can't do that. And you're telling yourself or giving yourself all sorts of reasons why you can't have magnificent hair. These are simple, free tips and tricks I'm giving you today. Pull therapy. We have incorporated an ancient Japanese technique into all of our treatments that work wonders. Pull therapy is simply tugging. So you see, I'm literally tugging on my hair. There you go. Enough to feel, but not enough to hurt, obviously. So you're tugging on your hair. This is an ancient Japanese technique that is used to stimulate the follicle. So if your follicle is comatose, it's simply like you are patting it on the bottom and saying, get up, you need to go to work. Massage therapy works on the same. You're going to be using the pads of your fingers. So not that, the pads of your fingers. It's almost as if you have a migraine and somebody is massaging the scalp. Put enough pressure on the scalp, and this is going to ensure, say, 3 to 5 minutes every morning and evening, your scalp therapy, your pull therapy, your massage therapy. This is going to ensure your follicles wake up from their dormant state or their comatose state. Well, it's going to ensure it wakes up on some level at least if you're not doing treatment. Wash your hair at least 5 times a week. And I know the fear is there, but my hair is falling. Every time I touch it, I'm afraid to touch it. All of my patients come into studio and they say, I'm afraid to wash my hair. I'm afraid to comb my hair because of the severity of the hair loss or the hair fall. Don't be afraid. By touching your scalp, by interacting with your scalp, you're going to have more blood flow, more oxygen, which ensures your follicles are functioning more optimally. And so it's going to stop the hair from falling as much. Okay? Use heat activated products. Blow dry. Iron your hair. Drink more water. Up your hydration levels. Okay? Your scalp needs hydration. Check up on your physical health. More importantly than anything else, the best advice I can give you today is ensure your mental health. Okay? But the life that we're living right now is extremely stressful. Try to smile
Sister
more.
Zaheera, sorry to interrupt. I've got Bina Maestri saying, can you explain knotted hair ribbon for this? Thank you. God bless. So she wants to know about knotted hair ribbon.
A hairy, knotted hair.
Yeah. I don't know if it's a typo
I think it's
there
a
or method.
reason. I think it was a typo there. So you just want to know about knotted hair. So your
Yeah.
hair will not, it depends on what knotted hair are you talking about. Is it knotting post washing while you're washing your hair, after your hair is wet, or are you talking about hair that is knotted as in a hair nest? So either way, this is caused by severe dehydration. A hair nest is caused when your follicles simply collapse. They are not functioning. We're looking at maybe a 20 to 30% follicle functionality where your hair becomes so severely dehydrated that your hair literally overnight can lock into hard clumps. It's almost as if you have to take a knife and stab at it, it's not going to open out. So that could be one of the reasons. I'm not too sure what knotting you're talking about, but that's one of
Well, she said
the
basically, I think the words got there. So basically explain the reason for knotted hair.
Okay, so you're looking at dehydration. Your reason for knotted hair is dehydration. That's it. Up your water intake, change the products that you're using, and you should be okay, provided there are not any underlying medical conditions or any other conditions that are causing your dehydration.
Okay. Before I let you go, I'm so enjoying this, and maybe I want to invite you again in the future then to focus more on the scalp itself and scalp and hair follicles. And maybe what we can do is next month I'll invite you, inshallah, and then we can focus on the scalp for now. At least you've given us tips in terms of those exercises we can do. You dispel those myths and also a healthy hair regimen. So what I'd like to ask you is regarding hair care products. I know you've got special ones that you've worked with a cosmetologist as well to get it there. But for now, if we can't get to Zahira or we're living far away from there, which one will be the best or the lesser evil in terms of hair care products that we can use? Because as you've explained to me, this is a not million, but $1 billion commercial industry. And sometimes I say, but Zaira, this is specific. It's written for hair loss, or it's written for shiny hair, or for hydrate for extremely dry hair to hydrate your hair. Uh, and you just said commercial money making industry. Uh, so, what products or what should be we looking at? Like sulfate free, paraben free. What product should be we looking for good healthy hair?
Okay, so what we must understand before I answer this very important question is most of the time when somebody comes into the studio with a really bad hair condition, the simplest thing, it doesn't have to always be attached to this huge problem that you have. Sometimes it's simply a change of shampoo and conditioner, and using a hair mask is all that you would need. So if you are using wrong products, if your hair is not right, the first thing you should do if you can't come to the studios is change the product. Go with a sulfate free. Remember, salon products, I think salon products scare me more than any other product off the shelf because of the high keratin amounts in there, the high chemicals found in there. So it doesn't mean a product is expensive, so it's supposed to be good for you. Not at all. So change. Go with the softest products. Start if you're having a really agitated scalp. Stop using all these fancy products. Go back to a basic shampoo and conditioner that has no parabens, that has no sulfates. You are going to have to try out products. Our Hydro Boost range ensures that our products feed the scalp. It feeds the follicle. So your shampoo, your conditioner, and your mask is all that you need. Stop using so many products. You don't need a host of products to ensure healthy or magnificent hair. And if you are using oil, stop using the oil immediately. Throw it away. So it's just simple changes in your hair routine or your hair regime that's going to help you. Very quickly, when you're using commercial products, for people like us that create products, if I'm going to create a shampoo today or a tile cleaner today, the chemical compound that I use, the cleaning agents are the same. So I'm going to take one cleaning agent, put some of it in my shampoo to clean your hair, put some of it in a tile cleaner to clean the tiles. So you can imagine with the commercial products. That's why I am so not so enthusiastic about these products, is because can you imagine the long-term effects of dehydration or follicle trauma that you are gaining by using these products? So try and go as natural as possible always. That is the advice I can give to you right now. Also, we do courier nationwide. So if you cannot, for whatever reason, come to the studio, we do consults like this, and we can try and help you to the best of our ability.
Okay, and talking about consults like this, Sister Zahira, because she is the pixie queen and she wants everybody, she wants to spread her dust and leave everything and people feeling better than when they
Yay!
knew her. So, have my follicle whisperer as well as pixie dust queen, Zahira, is for all Salam Media listeners listening here. She's offering 5 complimentary. Consults at Zaheera Bhayat here on Scalp Aesthetic Studios. So yes, and if somebody is away from you, you would then can you organize like a sort of a video or Zoom
Yes.
consultation. So yes, so don't fear. So if you are wherever you are and connecting with us, and if you message Zahira, we are going. Mohammed's going to put up the information now on the screen. Send a WhatsApp the first 5 people to contact her. I think I'm going to put up the other one's got your cell number. This one's got the website. Mohammed's going to put up the one with the cell number now. That is somebody still will here who looks gorgeous afterwards, after being treated. Okay, there's Zahira's contact details. So the first 5 people listening in, send Zahira a WhatsApp message. Please mention her on Salam Media. And yes, you'll then just got yourself a free consult. And this is a scalp analysis, hair and scalp analysis consult as well, from Zaheera Bhayat Hair and Restoration Studios. So yes, please contact us, and thereafter send me a message on me at Salam Media to tell me what was your thoughts in. expectations there. So the number is there on air. And yes, send Zahira a message. And Zahira, thank you so kindly for spreading your pixie dust and giving five listeners or viewers an opportunity for complimentary scalp analysis. Anything in closing?
Smile more. You want magnificent hair? Be a happier version of yourself. That's it.
Okay, I'm doing that just now.
Alhamdulillah.
Zaira, it's been an absolute pleasure. I would like to connect with you sometime in the future, specifically to focus on healthy scalp. We focused on hair, but I think we need to give some time on how to maintain how to maintain a healthy scalp as well, and also maybe the scalp resurfacing and that, and what does that entail as well. So, inshallah, we're going to connect with you in the future. Shukran for availing yourself and informing us and empowering us about healthy hair, scalp, and follicles.
Alhamdulillah. It was only my pleasure.
Shukran. That was Sister Zaheera Bhayat from the Hair and Scalp Static Studios. And we're going to go for a short break. And then we're changing that completely. We are going to be informed about the new rules regarding the new Property Act. All this after the break.